$500 million endowment, Nicolas Berggruen created the Berggruen Institute, a think tank that wants to reshape political and social institutions in the face of the great transformations of the 21st century. The board of directors includes an ambassador to the World Health Organization, a co-founder of Google, and former heads of states from Mexico, Pakistan, and Denmark. A key area of study for the Institute is the transformations of the human. The program is designed to challenge our concept of what it means to be human. Transformation of the Humans uses artificial intelligence and biotech as an opportunity to invent a whole new concept of the human. They are researching CRISPR technology that uses bacterial DNA to edit human genes. Currently, biotechnology companies that are funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Department of Defense are developing CRISPR DNA-based COVID-19 vaccines. According to the Institute, recent advances in machine learning, as well as gene editing, synthetic biology, and neurotechnology defy the modern distinctions between human things, natural things, and technical things. While the Institute has done the research and touts the attributes of editing the genes of humans, getting people to voluntarily change their DNA to become a new type of human would be extremely difficult. Enter Niles Gilman, the Vice President of Programs at the Berggruen Institute. He, along with Rosa Brooks, co-founded the Transition Integrity Project. Brooks is a senior fellow at the think tank New America that is funded by the Rockefeller and Gates Foundations. 10 days after Trump took office, Brooks came up with ways to get rid of him, including a military coup. In June of 2020, the Transition Integrity Project ran war games of different election night scenarios. They predicted with a high degree of likelihood that our November election would be chaotic. They believe that the potential for violent conflict is high. Niles Gilman is not shy about promoting violence. In fact, when Michael Anton wrote an article for the American Mind that accused the Transition Integrity Project of planning a coup, Gilman responded by suggesting that Anton be executed. In a scenario where Trump wins the electoral count and Biden wins the popular vote, John Podesta, playing Joe Biden, called for mass protests. A show of numbers in the streets and actions in the streets may be decisive factors in determining what the public perceives as a just and legitimate outcome. During TIPS exercises, Team Biden almost always called for and relied on mass protests to demonstrate the public's commitment to a legitimate outcome, with the objective of hardening the resolve of Democratic officials to fight and take action and to dramatize the stakes. As a practical matter, however, participants in the exercise noted that racial justice activists and others will likely act independently of the Biden campaign players, repeatedly cautioned that those social movements are independent, not beholden to or a tool of the Democratic Party. In addition, the exercises suggest that there is a significant possibility of simultaneous street mobilizations by both Trump and Biden supporters, in which case the possibility for violence will increase significantly. Team Biden encouraged California, Oregon, and Washington to secede from the Union unless statehood was given to Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico. California was divided into 5 states, and the Electoral College was eliminated to ensure that the candidate who wins the popular vote becomes president. It is a stretch to think that the Constitution would be changed because of the demands of a losing candidate, but the media could incite the supporters of that candidate to take to the streets by highlighting the unfairness of their candidate losing the election despite having the most votes. In some scenarios examined by TIP, Team Trump succeeded in invoking the Insurrection Act, and sending active duty military troops into U.S. cities to restore order. If TIP is successful in helping to implement mass protests that turn violent, then it is highly probable that the military will be sent to the cities to quell violence. Then the military will have the inner-city bases that are initially set up to battle the rioters and then later can be used in distributing the coronavirus vaccines. Billionaires like Rockefeller, Wallace, Hughes, and Soros are funding the Sunrise Movement. They have thousands of young people across the nation that are ready to take to the streets when it is announced that Trump isn't leaving the White House.
We're asking you to take action maybe like you've never taken before. What we've seen over the last 4 years is it's not enough to march, it's not enough to go to a one-day event and then go home. We need sustained disruptive action. We need an end to business as usual. We need to let the people in power know, not just politicians, but also corporations, the military, etc., the powers that be, that they're not going to go back to business as usual ever, really, but especially until we get Trump out of office.
Young people in Boston can shut down the whole city. If I have 1,000 young people, I can shut down 4 or 5 highways, and this city is in shackles.
And what we know is that uprisings, including actions like burning buildings, are legitimate and powerful forms of resistance.
In what the president called the most aggressive vaccine project in history is Operation Warp Speed. Heading up the military end of Operation Warp Speed is General Gus Perna, a 4-star general who currently oversees 190,000 service members, civilians, and contractors as the commander of the U.S. Army Materiel Command. The 18,000 troops that Trump promised to bring home from Germany, Afghanistan, and Iraq in time for the election could help in staffing the operation. In the age of same-day deliveries, the need for the military to be involved in distributing a vaccine is highly questionable. President Trump implied that the vaccines will be mandatory when he said,
"When we have the vaccine, we have the military all lined up, and the military is going to be doing it in a very powerful manner."
Since many of the biotechnology companies are developing gene-editing CRISPR DNA-based COVID-19 vaccines, military force may solve the problem of getting people to voluntarily change their DNA to become a new type of human.
Soon the world